Hey guys, and welcome once again to this channel. If you have been here and if you haven't, it's so very sweet of you to pass by. I hope that you hit that subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, then make sure you hit the notifications so that you never miss a video, or hit the bell so that you never miss a notification for a new video. So today's video is obviously super different because I am not in my usual setup once again. So before I explain all of that, today's video is going to be all about my infertility story and my PCOS issues, and basically how I got pregnant, dealing with all of that. So if you want to hear about all of that, then just keep on watching. Okay, so really quick about this setup. So the last thing I told you guys here and also on Instagram was that I haven't been posting videos because my setup is now back there. As you can see, it's right next to my husband's setup, and it used to be here on this side, but that's turning into the baby room. Long story short, the lighting back there once again is really bad, and we're going to install some type of like overhead lighting, because the problem is that the living room itself has no lighting, which is why we have like sconces and all of that. So it's like very dark. Also, the window is here, so that setup is against the window, which makes it even worse. So I don't want to film back there because it looks really bad. So right now I have no lighting, but I am sitting in front of the window, and even that is way better than back there with all the lighting on, if you know what I mean. So that's just a short explanation as to why I'm sitting where I am. I really hope that this turns out okay. But I also asked you guys on Instagram, I was like explaining the whole thing, and a lot of you just said, you know, we just want to see updates like about the pregnancy, and we just want to see videos. We really don't care about the lighting. So I am doing the best that I can right now, but hopefully, realistically, the whole fixing the lighting over there is not going to happen for at least a couple of months, but bear with me. I will film as often as I can. I think this in front of the window may actually work out pretty well. Right now it's almost 4, so it's not as bright as it would be if I had filmed in the morning. So maybe next time I'll do that. But anyway, all of that being said, let's get into my infertility story and PCOS issues. So the reason why I want to make this video is because I'm like getting comfortable here, putting my legs up and all of that. But basically, when I explained a little bit about the whole situation on Instagram, so many of you responded with so many positive messages, and also like similar stories that have happened to you or that are happening to you, things that are happening or have happened to like friends of you and family and all of that. And I have had some deep conversations with a lot of you on Instagram, which I did not expect, but I have gotten like pretty close to a lot of you through this, and we've had some really interesting conversations. I've heard stories about women getting divorced because the husband couldn't deal with the situation, which was so heartbreaking to me, and just a lot of stories similar to mine out there. So I really wanted to share this video, not just to share it and let you know that you're not alone if you are going through that, but also maybe the solution that worked for me will work for you. So that's the main point of this, because I feel like if I had known about the solution that worked for me earlier, maybe I wouldn't have had to wait this long, or my issues would have just been treated earlier, you know what I mean? So I just didn't know anything until I switched doctors. But let me I guess let me start at the beginning. Also, if I look strange, I am filming on my iPhone. I forgot to say that. So obviously the lens of the iPhone is like on one side, but then this is the center. So if I look at the center of the camera, I'm actually looking the other way. I don't know, it's weird. So I'm trying to like keep looking at the lens so that I'm looking directly at you, if you know what I mean. But let's start at the beginning. So I've always had irregular periods ever since I can remember, like literally ever since I got my period the very first time, I think at 13. I didn't get it again until like months after, which I didn't know was not normal. And if you don't know, I grew up without my mom, not because anything has happened, she's fine, but she lives in another country. I moved to the United States when I was 12 with my dad, and fathers don't know anything about this, you know what I mean? So he really wasn't much help, and I just kind of thought it was normal. I didn't know that, you know what I mean? Obviously, if you've never had your period, you wouldn't know what's normal and what's not. So I just didn't get it for like months after, and I just kind of thought, you know, no big deal. Maybe this was just kind of like a first time thing, and then maybe it'll be month to month. I don't know, like I was a child, obviously, and it's just never been regular. I'm getting text messages, sorry. So it's just never been normal. Yeah, so I would either not get it every month, or I would get it and then it wouldn't go away. And that whole not going away thing didn't happen until I was like 16, 17. So when I was 17, before, so if you don't know, when I was 17, I moved to New York City from Miami. And before I moved, I actually came on vacation. I'm in Jersey now, so whenever I talk about New York, I say here as if I'm in New York, but I am in Jersey, but I'm still close enough that I can say that, you know what I mean? And so I came to New York for a little vacation right after I graduated high school in June, July of 20, wow, has it been that long? Oh, 2006, that's when I graduated. Oh my God, I feel so old. But I went on a little vacation to visit some family. And right before that vacation, I had my period I had it for like 3 weeks, maybe a month. And obviously I know that wasn't normal, but I also, I don't know, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Ignorance, I guess. And just having no one for being there for me to kind of tell me, hey, that's not okay, let's go to a doctor, you know what I mean? So I went, like, right when I went on vacation, I actually remember, like, my period, the day that I was traveling, I remember my period was going away. So I was very excited about that. And then once I got to New York, the first night or the second night, something like that, I went to take a shower. And right when my shower was ending, I started feeling so faint and so dizzy. It was so bad that I had to like finish the shower quick and run out of the shower. And I couldn't even make it out of the bathroom before I just kind of had to sit down because I felt I was going to just collapse. And I just sat on the floor and I opened the door of the bathroom and I started like calling my sister to come because I physically could not move past that. I just sat on the floor and I started calling her. She came, and obviously she freaked out because I'm there like collapsed on the floor. But all of that being said, the next day we went to a doctor and the doctor said, had you not come today, you would have needed blood transfusion. Is that the word? I think that's the word. If it's not, my mistake, my bad. But that was super scary because I think the normal level of, I'm not sure if it's white blood cells or red blood cells, it's like 13, 12, something like that. Mine was like at 2 point something or 30. It was really, really bad. And so to stop my period immediately, because it was still going away, but it hadn't completely gone away. So to stop it completely, he gave me, I think I'm getting a little bit confused. When I was on vacation, the whole collapsing thing happened. Then I went back home. Then I moved to New York shortly after. And then that thing happened with the doctor and honestly, I'm getting a little bit confused, but it was all very close together. And it was all like at the beginning of my New York life. So it's all a little blurry. But the point is that after the doctor saw me, he gave me birth control pills. And it was like to stop the period immediately. So I had to take the pills 3 times a day. So I was basically taking pills like they were like ibuprofen or something like that. Like I was taking one in the morning, lunch, and then at night to stop the period. And that went on for, I believe, a week. If my math is not failing me, yeah. So I took birth control for like a whole week just to stop the period. And after that, then I went to like an actual, because that was like like an emergency type of thing. After that, I went to actually get like a prescription for the pills. And when I was 17, I got on birth control. And I had been on birth control for years and years and years after that, literally until a few years ago when we decided to start trying to have children. That's when I quit birth control. So it was a lot of years. Obviously at some points I like tried to go off it. I think the longest I went was like 3 months with no birth control, but then the whole like issues would start happening again. So I just had to get on it right away. All of that being said, my point in saying all of that is that no one ever really cared enough, or no one thought to just, hey, let's find the real issue, you know what I mean? Instead of just putting like a bandage on it, let's find the real issue and let's deal with that. No one did that, you know what I mean? And that was like after discovering that the solution was so simple, it just makes me so upset that no one said, hey, let's find the solution, you know, let's find the actual issue and treat it, as opposed to just putting like bandages on it. Yeah, so I was on birth control for forever. When we started trying to get pregnant, I had a different doctor, and I told my doctor, I need to go off, or I actually think I just went off birth control like on my own, and I was just hoping that it would be okay, but obviously it wasn't. So I had to start talking to my doctor about it. I was like, hey, I need my period to stop, but I can't get on birth control because we are trying to have a baby. And so they were kind of like, okay, so get an ovulation kit, which I did. I got one from Amazon, and just like start tracking your ovulation. As for the period, I think at that point I just wasn't getting my period, so the doctor kind of concluded from that, okay, you're not ovulating, so let's get you ovulating. So I got the kids, I started testing, and in fact I was not ovulating, but the doctor again just never really did much about it. So after a few months I just kind of got tired of that, and I said, you know, I'm gonna find a new doctor. So I did that, and once I found the new doctor, actually it wasn't just a few months. I think I struggled for like a while before just finding a new doctor, because the whole process took 3 years. I remember now. So the old doctor sent me to a fertility specialist. Like they just did nothing for me. They were like, okay, it seems you're not ovulating, so here's a specialist. Go spend thousands of dollars for someone else to just do like it's an extreme. Obviously fertility, like people will need fertility specialists, obviously, because some people have it way worse than me. But if you haven't tried the simple things, it's kind of like I say I have a headache and they're like, okay, let's give you a CT scan, you know what I mean? Like, no, here, take some painkillers first, you know what I mean? It kind of felt like that, like they just sent me to like the big solution when it could have been dealt with differently. And so once they sent me to the specialist, we went there, my husband and I went there for like the consult. So it was just one time we went for the consult, and the specialist was like, okay, so let's do this and this and that. And they the same day of the consult, they drew blood from us to do some testing. And I thought, okay, some blood work, no big deal. Once we got the bill for the blood work, I said, absolutely not, we cannot do this. It was hundreds and hundreds, it was over $1,000 for like between my husband's and my blood work. It was over $1,000. And so we said, yeah, we can't do this, because if you know nothing about fertility specialists, they'll do like blood work first, and then they'll do like I was scheduled already for like the saline solution situation, which I think is when they like inject it through your uterus, or I don't know anything, but I was scheduled for like the saline solution thing. And I was also scheduled to see a nutritionist, because when you are not being as fertile as you should be, then you also have to watch like what you're eating and see how that affects it, which there was something that was affecting me, but I'll get into that. Basically soy. It's not a long story. If you have PCOS, you shouldn't be consuming soy. That's long story short. Which I googled. I mean, I just learned this on my own. And yeah, so we were scheduled for like a bunch of testing. After that, we would have to do like morning monitoring, which what that means is that for a few days you go every single day to the doctor in the morning. And so all of that was going to cost us so much money, and we said, okay, just wait. We had only been trying at this point for I think 6 to 8 months to get pregnant. So we just said, you know, let's just slow down, let's just keep trying the natural way. It hasn't been that long yet, maybe it's just timing. Let's just, you know, let's just chill for a little bit. This is a lot of money which we cannot afford right now, and it's not absolutely necessary right now because it just hasn't been that long. So we kind of let that go for a while, and then I kept going to the same doctor, just kept testing the ovulation and all of that. And then I finally switched doctors. Once I switched doctors, I already knew that I had PCOS because of the specialist. They did like a little ultrasound the same day that we had the consult, and I could see like the little tiny cyst on my ovaries. So I already knew I had PCOS. And when I found a new doctor, I was like, okay, so here's my situation. We're trying to get pregnant. I have PCOS. What do we do? The first thing she said was, okay, do you have an ovulation kit? And I was like, yeah, I've been tracking the ovulation. I'm not, in fact, ovulating. She was like, okay, so let's give you metformin. And I kid you not, that is the only thing I've ever taken is metformin. So that is the only thing I needed. And it was as simple as paying for a $5 medication every month. And that's what did it. It did take a while. At the beginning, I was taking 1 pill a day. When that wasn't doing much, she switched me to 2 pills a day. And then it was getting a little better. Like I could feel it kind of working, but it still wasn't giving us like the, the results we were looking for. So my dose was doubled. So I was taking 2 in the morning, 2 at night. That does have its side effects, but mostly stomach issues. Not gonna get into too many details, but bathroom issues, if you know what I mean. But it's really not like it was so simple. The solution was so simple. Besides that, yes, you do have to be active. You do have to watch what you're eating. Like when you have PCOS, there is a hormonal issue that's also affecting your sugar levels. So you do have to watch what you're eating. But again, that's just like part of life. You should be watching what you're eating anyway, which I was already doing. Like prior to all of this, I was already being active. I was already watching what I was eating. I switched my whole diet. I was eating more than half the things we eat in this house, or that we buy, the groceries that we buy in this house are organic. And I was also being active, and we don't buy any juice in this house. We don't buy any soda. Like we don't have sugary drinks. We don't keep treats in the house. Like we mostly eat things that are homemade. Again, we don't have any drinks. We drink water. I don't know if you can see back there on my desk, but there's 3 bottles of water right there. That's literally all we drink. Now that I'm pregnant, I'm drinking sparkling water, and it kind of satisfies like my no water, like when you just don't want to have water, the sparkling water will do it. And it's still water, so it's pretty good. Yeah, but like we really don't eat that bad. I personally, my husband doesn't like physical activity that much, but I do. So I like would stay active, and I was eating right. And I also tried like natural ways to deal with the PCOS, like natural medications, which I can't remember the names of right now, but if I find them, I'll list them down below or put them on the screen or something like that. I also tried Pregnitude based on a friend's suggestion, which that apparently has done miracles for some people. It never did anything for me. As you guys know, I am also very active in my church community, so we prayed a lot for this. And I can't say just the medication alone did it. I know that prayer did it, because there's times when I was on the medication and nothing happened, and there were times when I was praying and nothing would happen. And so just the two of them, like I have to give credit where credit is due. So the medication did help me a lot, but also I know that the fact that I'm here today is an actual miracle, which was not supposed to happen, because not only do I have PCOS, but I am anemic. But yeah, like I have all these obstacles, and here we are living a miracle. And not only that, but at the beginning of my pregnancy, as I've told you guys before, I think I was so scared of doing anything, because so many things can go wrong at the beginning of a pregnancy. And if you are at the beginning of a pregnancy, I don't mean to scare you, but so many things can go wrong. And I just kept waiting for all of those things to go wrong for me, and they never did. Somebody, especially my position or my situation with PCOS and anemia and all of these things, like so many things could go wrong for me, or could have gone wrong for me or the baby or the pregnancy, and they didn't. So I know for a fact the fact that I am here today is an actual miracle, and I do praise God for that. But yeah, medically speaking, if you are dealing with PCOS, ask your doctor about metformin. Metformin, if you don't, there's someone outside. Metformin, if you don't know, is a medication that was originally made for diabetes. So again, like I mentioned a little bit ago, PCOS is a hormonal disorder that also affects your sugar levels. So at some point, some genius doctor or person discovered that since it affects your sugar levels, then something to treat diabetes could work. I don't know how it happens, to be honest, but I assume it must have been something like that. And so they discovered that metformin worked for PCOS, and it has been a lifesaver for me. I've heard from some people that they've tried it and it did not work, but it did work for me, which I'm so thankful for. Also, as soon as I got pregnant, I got taken off metformin. Another side effect of PCOS for me was weight gain. I gained so much weight when I was dealing with PCOS, and that is emotionally draining. Like, you do not understand, or I'm sure some of you do, but to have no control of your weight, it's something that is heartbreaking. It will affect your mental state. It will break you or it will make you. And it did break me for a while. Like, I really struggled with anxiety because of it, because if I know that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do and I just keep, like, at one point I was working out with a friend and we would spend the entire day together. So we were doing the same physical activity, we were eating the same. She was losing weight, I was gaining weight while working out, while eating healthy, while I switched my diet to organic. I remembered what I had to say before. I also switched my pads, fine liners, tampons, all to organic products, and I did notice a difference. I'm not gonna get too much into that, but definitely I noticed a difference, like in cramping and all of that. Like, they have just been so much better for me. So that's all I want to put out there. Look into organic, like, female hygiene products, and don't worry about the price. The brand L Organic, which I get at Target, makes pads and panty liners that are really good. For tampons, I prefer Cora, which you could only get online on Target before, but now they have it, like, actually in store, so that's super cool. The pads and panty liners from Cora, though, I do not like, so just stay away from those. I kind of hated them, to be honest. But yeah, all that being said, yeah, it was just heartbreaking. I went through a lot of anxiety because if you know you're doing everything you're supposed to do, you're eating healthy, you're working out, you're watching what you eat, you're not only eating the right things, but you're eating the healthier things, and everything's natural and raw and organic, and you know what I mean? And nothing changes for you physically, it will drive you actually insane, like mentally insane, and it's a lot to deal with. So it's a lot. So anyway, yeah, so after I got on the first week, I distinctly remember the first few weeks that I was on the medication, I started dropping the weight like it was nobody's business. Like, it was actually kind of crazy. After that, I was still losing weight, but it was like very slowly, like literally like half a pound every like few weeks or something like that. And I do want to say, after I got on medication, I changed nothing. I was still eating the same, which was not that bad. It was also not like, I'm not like a plant-based vegan. I don't have that type of lifestyle, but I do try to make like better decisions when it comes to what I eat. So I was eating the same, I was working out the same. It was literally just the medication doing all of this. So I just kept losing weight. And strangely enough, as soon as I got pregnant, my doctor took me off it. But in the first trimester of my pregnancy, I actually lost like 10 more pounds. So in total, I lost, because of the medication, I think over 30 pounds, to be honest. I started writing down my weight only at the beginning of last year, I believe. So before that, I lost even more that I just did not record because I hated getting on the scale, but I do know that I lost. Before I started writing it down, I can't tell you exactly how much, but I know that in total I have lost more than 30 because of the medication. And now the past few weeks, I think since like the last few weeks of December until now, which today is January 14th, I have stayed exactly the same weight. Not gained anything, not lost anything. So I'm pretty content with that. I mean, I knew I was gonna be gaining eventually, but I'm not gaining yet, but I'm not losing anymore, which I think is fine because I am growing a child. So I'm good. That's about it. I think that's mostly what I have to say about my PCOS and infertility struggles. Yeah, just look into metformin. Ask your doctor about metformin. I know there's another medication because my doctor kept telling me if this doesn't work, we can put you on this other one, but I cannot remember the name of it. So just ask your doctor about metformin or any other medication that could help your situation. Just make it like, if your doctor's not doing anything, don't be scared of just switching doctors. You know, your health is more important than not offending somebody. So yeah, that's all I have to say, I think, for today. I am going to be filming a pregnancy update after this video. It is now 4. I have to take passport photos today, which is why, oh, I cut my hair. I didn't say that. I meant to say that at the beginning of the video, but I did cut my hair on December 24th. I actually had an appointment to cut it since the summer, but then that appointment got canceled because the lady that was going to do it left the salon. And so I found somebody else like last minute, or not someone else, someone that I had already tried before and I knew she was good. So I went and I cut it and everyone was shocked, but I was like, I've had this decision has been made since the summer. I know I was cutting my hair. I knew it was going to be very, very short, and everyone was shocked. I was like, you guys didn't believe me. I said it. So that was fun, and I'm loving how short it is. I'm loving how manageable it is, and yeah, I love it. So I gotta take passport photos, but I am going to be filming a pregnancy update right after this, which you should watch out for that, coming out maybe in the next week or so. I am 4 months as of like half a week ago. I reached 4 months, but that video I think is going up exactly when I'm 4.5 months, which would be like halfway through the pregnancy, you know what I mean, like 20 weeks out of 40 weeks, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If you guys have any questions at all, any doubts, any concerns, anything that I can help you with, I will help you with it. So make sure you leave it in the comments down below. It took me 3 years to get pregnant, 3 years exactly, as I mentioned before, but here we are, and I'm very, very excited and happy to be here. So we are still working on the nursery. We have furniture already, we just have to get it built, and we have tons of clothing that I cannot wait to put in the dresser and in the closet and all of that. So we're very, very, very excited, and I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that it helped you or someone that you know. I keep feeling like there's something else I have to say, but I cannot remember it. So I guess for now I'll just leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already.